going to just give people a couple minutes here to get on because I know that a few people are going to want to see what's up. Let me start a watch party here. Make sure folks can get on. Folks can learn about what's happening. We'll give it about another 45 seconds, and then we're gonna get cracking here. I also don't expect to go for a very long time, so this video will be available to everyone on YouTube and also right here on Facebook. So you'll have a chance to check it out. Meanwhile, let me just make sure y'all see the schedule of what's coming up with the Open Mic Debate Series. We got a lot coming. Cool, you can see today we're doing a ballot breakdown of the county executive's position. Then tomorrow we've got our county executive debate around about the 16th. We've got a ballot breakdown on Proposition C, which is charter amendments to the county charter. Then on the 20th, a ballot breakdown of what a committee person is. On the 22nd, we have committee person debate number 1. On the 27th, we got the Senate District 13 debate, which is a big deal. 29th, we got committee person debate number 2. And then on the 30th, we will have the ballot breakdown around Medicaid expansion. So the goal of these ballot breakdowns specifically is to help us as a whole gain more information about what is on our ballot and why it's there, and kind of demystify some of the things that we tend to see. What I know is the people that go to the polls a lot of times aren't sure exactly what to do or how to do it or who to vote for or what to vote for, because they haven't really had a chance to do the research. And so I'm working here to provide some of that research, some of that information, so that you can be more knowledgeable when you go in to vote. So St. Louis County is a charter controlled county, charter controlled county, which means there is a constitution type situation that was voted on and ratified, and so we have a county executive who we vote for every year or every 4 years. This year, a county executive position is right now between 4 people, and they're vying for the ability to serve out the previous term, so about a 2-year term until 2022. So the question that that I hear and I get a lot is, what is a county executive? And the interesting thing is that a lot of times people tend to try to simplify it by saying that the county executive is the mayor of the county, and that's not the truth. That's not accurate enough to the role that the county executive has, because they've got a lot more responsibilities that really are going to impact you in your normal everyday life. So one of the things that is important to recognize is the county executive is more like a chief executive officer of a business. That business being St. Louis County. So they're the chief executive officer, which means they run multiple departments throughout St. Louis County, and they have ultimate say over what happens and how money and funds are allocated to these different departments. So coming into that, the number one role of a county executive is to maintain fiscal health. They manage the county's finances. Oftentimes most of the time that means that they work to establish a budget. Um, and they take the funds. They take the funds from what they expect to make from revenue, mostly property taxes, and build a budget based on what each department is going to need for each program or each project that they have coming up. This year, 2020, our 2020 budget for all funds is $828 million. Well, it's more than that, a little bit more than that, but 828.29, about $829 million. And that is the funds that our county executive has budgeted for 2020. That includes supporting all the operating departments, highway capital projects, the Spirit of St. Louis Airport, any debt that they might have, and public transit. Now, that does not include grants or trust agency funds, which once they get them, they appropriate. But the key thing to think about is they are in charge of deciding where money goes for the county. And so when you are in a community that and you're wondering, like, how do we not have enough funds? How are we out here broke? How is this particular how are these things not happening in my area of the county? A lot of times it's because the funding has not come, or the funding has not been allocated from the county executive in the budget. Now, the county executive, their budget, they do have to go through and discuss the budget with county council. That does happen. However, the priorities that the county executive has generally is what happens in the budget. So, number one, they are in charge of the budget. Second main goal or main role of the county executive is to manage and supervise all the departments and agencies, all county service programs and projects. So that pulls on their ability to lead. So they have, there's multiple departments that report to the county executive. One of the strongest jobs of the county executive is deciding who leads these departments. Similar to the president of the United States, and they build a cabinet, the county executive builds department heads, and they can appoint these department heads depending on their own priorities and how those department heads relate to their priorities. A good question for a county executive candidate is, how do you plan to fill your department heads? What's your plan for making sure your department heads are equitable? One thing that has plagued county government for a while, at least in St. Louis, is department heads being of one demographic, typically, and that's overwhelmingly white male. Now, some departments have not been, but overall, for years, it's been overwhelmingly white male. So the question that I would ask any county executive candidate is, what's your plan for leading and staffing your department heads? Because those department heads are the ones that carry out the priorities of the county executive. In St. Louis, there are, see if I can find them. There are multiple department heads, and I'm not gonna go, not gonna go through all of them here, but there's I'll go through. St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, they choose that person. Department of Planning, Spirit of St. Louis Airport head, Department of Transportation and Public Works, uh, Department of Human Services, Department of Public Health, uh, Department of Judicial Administration, Department of Justice Services, uh, County Police. There's a lot of departments. There's a lot of spaces where the county executive is directly involved in choosing the person that leads that effort. And if that county executive isn't thinking with an equitable mindset or equitable plan of who they're putting in that department, then everything in that department, in my opinion, is going to fall or is going to be not equitable. And that's, of course, that's not what is desired. So that they have to do that, but not only do they or is their role to hire and to put people into these positions, is also to manage those departments and help those departments be successful. So that calls for leading staff meetings, terminate when needed, disciplining when needed, evaluate performances, and making salaries, raising salaries, lowering or not, don't lower salaries, staffing. These are all things that a county executive is in charge of making sure that they can do. And so there's a lot of roles, and so you have to be able to, as a county executive, choose people who are going to fulfill those roles in a way that that follows your plan and your goal, but also is equitable and beneficial to the rest of the county. And in that sense, it's so important that our county executive has a strong relationship with the mayors all over the county. St. Louis is a little different than most areas in that our county has multiple cities within it. I believe we're at 90 something, maybe 88 is the number. Municipalities within St. Louis County, and so there's an importance if you're really trying to be a successful county executive. You really do have to be cognizant and have a good relationship with the mayors of each of these different municipalities, because the reality is you are leading the county as a whole, but every mayor leads their city. And although there are places where the county and the municipalities intersect, you really want the mayors on your side, or at least buy into your vision, so that you don't get a lot of pushback or a lot of fight when it comes to making wholesale changes or wanting to make some changes. So that also, county executive represents the county at meetings and forums. Now, this generally is talking about county council meetings, and our county council meetings are every Tuesday, and like one Tuesday a month is at 1 o'clock, but most times it's like 6:30. But for those meetings, our county executive is a non-voting member. He's just there to give feedback, recommendations, and then to move on things that the county council has decided they want to happen. So it's important, and the county council also is supposed to provide some kind of report on what's happening with the county, its agencies, and its departments. We've had county executives that have taken a back seat completely to the county council meetings and like not participate. But we've also had county executives that were very participatory in those in those county council meetings. Both are good. Both are what they are. Let me not say they're good. Both are what they are. But it is important that the county executive is actively representing the county at places that they're supposed to be. So if there's a forum that is asking for the county executive to show up, the county executive needs to show up. If there's a meeting, county executive needs to show up. Sometimes county executives feel that they got too much on their plate, and they send a person. And generally people don't like that, but they'll take it sometimes if the person coming is coming with real information from the county executive, and not just saying, well, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm here just to represent. So it's important that county executive is participatory and knowledgeable about what's happening within the county and within the different departments, and then goes to these meetings, these forums, sometimes these press conferences, ready to have the full conversation about how they're representing St. Louis County. And then lastly, like I said, I kind of mentioned, the county council often will make decisions at their meetings, and it's up to the county executive to take those steps to carry out those wishes. Sometimes those conversations kind of happen in the back rooms where the county executive gives their thoughts on what the county council wants to do, because they're a part. But they generally will build out an ordinance or resolution, and once they vote that they want to do that thing, county executive's job then is to make it happen within their ability as a county executive. So deciding where funds should be appropriated or reallocated, making sure that part is done in the best way, and legally working with the county councilor, make sure things are done the right way. Our county executive often falls into a space where they have to speak for the department heads, the different departments, and they have to be prepared for that, and making sure that they are hiring department heads who support the vision of the county executive and are supporting the priorities of the county executive is super important, because that county executive should be representing the priorities of the people that they represent, the county. So those are the basic duties of the county executive. I will suggest this being the it's been election season. There are a few debates happening, and I would suggest that you check them out. There are, let's see. So the first one I want to tell you about is happening today in about 30 minutes, and it is with Action St. Louis. So Action St. Louis is having a debate today from 3 to 5 p.m. So it starts in about, like I said, 20 minutes or so. And they'll have the candidates there. It's going to be streamed live from the Facebook page. And you can feel free to check out that debate and see the questions that are being asked and the answers that are being given by those executive candidates. You can determine, for yourself if you support who you support for that particular role. Secondly, there's of course the open mic debate series. Of course, we have our own debate happening tomorrow from 5 to 6:30. We're also going to be talking to the St. Louis County candidates, county executive candidates, And we hope that you can come to our Facebook page and watch it live, and also ask your questions live. That's kind of the difference between this debate and other ones that you might run into. Uh, our debate, you can type in questions live, and we will ask those questions of the candidates. Of course, we also have other things going on the rest of this month. So feel free to join us. We have the ballot breakdown happening. That's today. Of course, you were here for that. And then tomorrow we have the county executive debate, which I just mentioned. Then on the 16th-ish, we'll have ballot breakdown of Proposition C, which is on your ballot if you're in the county. We also have on the 20th ballot breakdown of what a committee person is. On the 22nd and 29th, we have committee person debates 1 and 2. On the 27th, we have the Senate District 13 debate, which is going to be historical. For that position, it'll be the first time a Black person has ever been in that Senate district seat. And then on the 30th, we'll have the ballot breakdown Medicaid expansion. And I hope that you choose to join us. Hope you choose to join us for these. I work really hard. The team works really hard to make sure that these are done well and put together well for you. And so I'm glad that you stuck with us today. And each of these videos are going to be about 20 minutes long, so we're not going to belabor your day. Everyone have a great rest of your Sunday. Like I said, there's a debate happening in about 20 minutes. Feel free to jump on that, and then come see us tomorrow at Over Mic Debate Series. Thank you. Peace.